I'll give you a little opening statement. Just obviously excited to get out on the field and, really 21 days away from our first game. Incredible schedule this year, competition-wise, as far as talent across the country, and we're going to face a lot of really good teams. And I feel like we're going to have a really good team as well. So with that being said, we're just going to, try to pick up where we left off in fall baseball. I tell them I don't feel like we start over when spring ball gets here. We just kind of pick it up where we left off, and we continue to get better. So far, so good. Everybody's healthy right now. But looking forward to watching these pitchers pitch and help us make some decisions as far as starting pitching and kind of take it from there. So glad to be here.
Coach, you want to start us off?
Yeah, sure. Dave, you kind of touched on it there. You're trying to get some answers on your starting pitching. Do you have an idea of what your rotation is going to look like right now, or is it still completely up in the air? How's that going?
No, I mean, we've got an idea. We've got 6 or 7 or 8 guys that we can start right now. And, there's probably a few more guys in that locker room tell you they should be starting. It's a good issue, a good problem, I guess, to have, because the guys that aren't starting, they have starter stuff or better. Maybe they're a guy that can only go a couple innings or an inning here and there, but their stuff is, closer type stuff. And, we just got to figure it out. And it may take some time. It may take 4 weeks into the regular season before we get it figured out, but hopefully we'll have it figured out before we open with Alabama here in SEC play.
Curtis?
Hey, Coach. Obviously lost a couple key pieces out of the lineup, but there's still plenty of talent in the room. What's your take on this group offensively so far, and maybe how it compares with the firepower you've had in years past?
Well, I think this team, obviously it's hard to replace a guy like Heston Kjerstad. I mean, he's a guy that he's special, doesn't come along very often. A lot of times that guy doesn't make it to college. Heston really improved from year to year, and that was great to see, and happy for him and his family where he was picked in the draft. So, you try to make up for it other places, maybe have a little bit deeper lineup, maybe a little more sock up and down the lineup as far as maybe not a guy that's going to hit 20 home runs, but, some guys that can hit a lot of doubles and will hit 10 or 12 home runs. Hopefully that's the way we feel like we're going to make up for losing a couple of guys. But, we've got plenty of starters back, got a couple of guys that are fighting to get in the lineup. And I don't think we're going to miss a beat offensively. I think, we'll be right where we've been the last few years and hopefully better. Time will tell on that. You can't judge it off of what we see the first 3 weeks. You can't judge it off really the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. Sometimes it takes a little while to gel and get it going. But we're going to have some really good days. We have some average days, but hopefully when the weather warms up, we warm up and we swing it well all year.
Yeah, Dave, with Kevin Kopps, what role, at least right now, do you envision for him on the staff?
Well, I would say it's still to be determined, but Kevin's throwing better than he ever has since he's been here. Sure like his experience and his mound presence, maybe to help us get out of jams or, be a guy that could come in off a starter and take us to the 8th or 9th. And but he could also close some games. He could also start games. So I really haven't answered your question, but that's the way I feel about Kevin. I think he can do a little bit of everything for us.
Dave, when you look at the talent that people were able to retain for you, Opitz and Vermillion and other guys, how do you see the level of ball being in the SEC this year?
Well, not only the SEC, across the country, the talent level is probably better than it's ever been because of experience and age. In the SEC, I know that every team kept guys they would have lost in a normal draft, draft was only 5 rounds, and then some kids signed free agent and didn't make a lot of money, but they felt like it was time to go. But a lot of kids stayed and came back. And then you look on the other side of it, kids that might have signed out of high school. I feel like we probably kept a couple of kids there for sure, maybe more. And then maybe 3 or 4 or 5 guys that would have had an opportunity to sign if it would have been a 40-round draft. And I think it's that way across the conference. I think that's that way in the Big 12, in the ACC. You could go on and on. And some of these mid-majors, they're going to be scary this year. They've got a lot of kids back that are going to be 23 years old and starting. And I know a few teams that are going to have 6 or 7 fifth-year seniors starting, and those guys are going to be hard to beat. So I feel like the SEC is going to be loaded. Talent level is going to be better than ever, and you're going to see guys every weekend that in SEC play that normally wouldn't still be with their team if it would have been a normal year.
Matt?
Hey, Dave, last year, Lander was a little inconsistent early on. I think at the end of the year, though, you said that he had thrown some good bullpens and you liked the way he was throwing. What have you seen from him since last season ended? And do you think he's going to be the type of pitcher that's going to be able to give you those consistent 6-inning performances if he is a starter?
He there's some things that really didn't get out there, but he had some a little bit of medical issue that he had to get straightened up, and he's all over it now. He's got his strength back. First couple outings in the fall were pretty good. The end of the fall, he was really good. So far in January, he's been outstanding. He's in great shape. I think he's a man on a mission. And he's one of the guys we're looking to really bounce back and have a great junior year and be a starter for us.
Nate?
Just how big is it up the middle, returning Opitz and Robert Moore and Kyle and Franklin?
That's big. I don't think that there's too many teams that can match up with us up the middle. Obviously, there's a few. Then you throw in Jalen Battles, who's got a year and a half basically of playing at a junior college and had an outstanding fall for us, who's probably going to play shortstop for us. And those guys they'll be tough to beat. You look at having all of those guys, and I feel like that some of those guys have a chance to play in the big league. So if we can keep those guys healthy and on the field, it's going to be fun to watch.
All right, let me know if we got questions in the chat. Hutch?
Hey, Dave, y'all have a ton of arms on the roster. How many pitchers do you think y'all could use this year? And with the travel roster getting bumped up to an extra 3 guys, do you envision those spots being used on pitching?
Yeah, I mean, we do have a big roster, obviously, as do a lot of teams. When you keep 5 or 6 pitchers that you didn't think were going to be back after their junior year, and then you keep another couple of guys on the other end out of high school, all of a sudden you've jumped up 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys. And it's just the way it is for a year. How many can we use? I mean, we're going to use more than ever. I'll tell you that, because we're going to get some guys some time. That's the way we feel going into the season. I guess I haven't really sat down and counted it. We're getting ready to start scrimmaging and inter-squad here this weekend. So we're going to throw a lot of guys the next 3-4 days, throw everybody. And then we'll do it again the next weekend and the next weekend. And maybe a couple of guys we'll throw on the Tuesday and Wednesday an inning before we open up the regular season in Arlington. So, I mean, I really can't put a number on it. I just don't think that would be right. We're just going to let guys prove to us that they're ready to pitch, and if they do, they're going to pitch.
Kevin?
Hey, Coach. 2 freshmen that really stood out from the Fall World Series that you talked about, Caden Wallace and Jackson Wiggins. Are they still progressing, and are there any other freshmen that have caught your eye, coming back from the break?
Well, I'd have to say on the position player side, Wallace has an opportunity to get in the lineup right away. He third baseman kind of by trade. It's what he played most of the time growing up. He's also played a little bit of outfield, maybe first base here and there. We're working him more in the outfield now just because there's more possibility to get his bat in there, and he brings some power to the lineup, and he can run as well. So he's been doing a nice job in the outfield, working hard at it. And we in the fall they split time, but I would between the infield and outfield, but it was more like 80-20 on the infield. And I talked to him about we need to flip that right now. And he gets his work in on the infield, but he's putting most of his time in with the outfielders. And I think it's helped him relax a little bit, and he knows what he's trying to do right now. And, as a freshman, you just want to get on the field, no matter if you're playing your position of choice, you just want to play. So as far as Wiggins, obviously he's really talented. We'll see how it goes. These bullpens are pretty good. He throws the ball effortlessly. It's ball just kind of jumps out of his hand. And there's been some good bullpens in there. Talking to Coach Hobbs, I think Nate Wogelmuth is another freshman that could jump out there. And there's more. But they got to go out there and show it to us before we're going to really, put them out there in a tough situation.
Nate?
Where does Paulette figure as far as pitching? Is he a starter, reliever? Kind of where does he fit?
We're going to give him every opportunity the next 3 weeks to prove to us that he can start for us. His stuff's been really good. His bullpens have been outstanding. Velocity seems up, getting bigger and stronger. He's an outstanding defender in the middle of the field. As far as from being a pitcher, he can fill this position. So if he can show us over the next few weeks that he can give us 4, 5, 6 innings, he's got as good a chance of starting the first weekend as anybody.
Bob?
Dave, Christian Franklin's getting some preseason All-American attention, I guess you'd call it. What are your expectations for him? And he just seems like such a well-rounded player.
He is. He's got a lot of tools, so to speak. They grade you professionally off of 5 tools, and he's right there. We feel like that he's going to have an outstanding season. I don't feel like at this time he feels any pressure to go out and put up big numbers. He's pretty level-headed. If you watch him take batting practice now compared to last year and the year before, it just seems easy for him. His swing is really good. It continues to get better. He has power to all fields. He can hit a breaking ball over the new building in right field. He can pull the ball, 425, 430 feet. He's got a lot of talent, and he's a great person, like you said. So I feel like he's going to have a tremendous season.
Matt?
Hey, is Matt Goodhart's shoulder well enough for him to play first base? And if not, what are your thoughts at first base? And then I was wondering about right field. What do you think about that position too?
Yeah. Well, Matt's playing first base, in the scrimmage today, Friday. I don't know what day this is going out, but we're scrimmaging today, and he's playing first base on one of the teams. His throwing is better. Obviously, it is what it is. He's had major surgery there that's tightened that up pretty good, but it's gotten better. It's better than it was last year at this time by a lot. We also have Cullen Smith can play first base, throws right, hits left, and had a tremendous fall for us. He actually led our team in batting average this past fall. And then, at the same time, Brady Slavens could play first base. Brady's been working out at third, first, and outfield. And there's probably another one I could throw in over there. Caden Tollett's been working out at first, came in here as a catcher, has gotten big and strong, and hits right-handed. All the guys I mentioned all hit left-handed, so it gives us another option over there. Wallace could play first. As far as right field right now, Zach Gregory, left-handed hitter, Caden Wallace, Brady Slavens. those are the guys that probably jump out at me right now. Obviously, center field is in good shape there. Webb's our left fielder. I mean, he's a guy that he's been really good lately. So excited for him to have a big year as well.
Tom?
Dave, what's the rundown on guys who've been starters for you? Talking about Noland and Wicklander and Bolden, and then Vermillion. Would his position change, or do you want him to be the closer?
Yeah, as far as Connor, he's continued to get better. He, had a pretty good start last fall, and then last couple of outings didn't go great for him. And we're hoping that he'll bounce back and really, eat up a lot of innings. Possible starter. We'll see how that goes. Wicklander, like we talked about earlier, he seems to be doing really well. He's strong, arms healthy. I don't know, who else did you mention?
I'm sorry, Kyle muted me. Bolden and Vermillion.
Yeah. So Bolden, he's a strike thrower now, and he's got great mound presence. Fastball sits in the low 90s, got a plus changeup at this level. And, I've got pretty good breaking ball. I mean, he has every opportunity to be a starter. He's one of those guys that when he gets on the mound, we're not looking for a lot of strikeouts, although he can strike you out. We want contact, and he can eat up some innings. But, if he locates, he's going to be right in the middle of it. And then Vermillion, his stuff has been outstanding. I would love to have him start, and I'd love to have him close. So we're going to leave it. We're going to leave it up to what we see, what helps the team the most. If he shows us that he could go out and give us really good starts and give us 5+ and maybe more, then we might give him an opportunity there. If it's good for 2 or 3 innings and then it fades pretty good, I think that he would be fine being a closer. Because if you have him out there for 1 inning, he can be really, really hard to hit. And our guys do not like hitting off of him. I'll just tell you that. That's a good thing. You find that out, from what they say. So that if our guys feel that way, other teams can feel the same way.
We got time for a few more. Hutch?
You mentioned Vermillion as a possible closer. Who are some other guys there? And do you envision having one dominant closer like you had with Matt Cronin, or could you have multiple guys kind of share that role?
I think it depends on who we start. We haven't mentioned Elijah Tress. The kid's throwing 95, 97 miles an hour. Got a little better breaking ball, and that's the key for him. He throws strikes, he competes. He's going to throw harder, believe it or not. He's getting bigger and stronger. We haven't even mentioned, Cole Ramage. This is a guy that's been throwing the ball extremely well this year, better than ever. And he has an opportunity to start. He could be a middle reliever. There's a lot of options there, throwing the ball harder than he has. He's bigger and stronger. It's just kind of what happens with maturity. You just starts to become a little easier. And we have a JUCO transfer, Ryan Costu, that his stuff's filthy. If he throws strikes, he's got one of the better breaking balls on the team. It's a hard downer, but he's a guy that's also, he made a few mistakes coming in here as far as location, and our guys heard him. But he's been good as well. And there's more. I haven't even mentioned Caden Monk. We really like Caden. Long reliever, could be a starter. He's hard to hit. Usually if there's an issue there, he gets himself in trouble with maybe command. But if he throws it over the plate, we don't hit him. Zach Morris, he's throwing the ball well again. He didn't have a great fall. He's throwing the ball extremely well. And then we also have a transfer, Lockhart, that we haven't mentioned. He's got a chance to be a starter. And these guys are going to get some starts in the next couple of weeks, and we'll see how it goes.
Last one, Matt.
David, it sounds like you've got a lot of pitchers you like. Maybe you like the versatility. Different guys can do different things. I wonder what you can say about just the versatility of your pitching staff. And, is it your team's strength this year? Maybe if you could elaborate on that a little bit.
Well, I think obviously that's to be determined. One of the reasons, from the outside looking in, maybe media where we're being ranked, I think a lot of people that maybe haven't been around here a lot, they like our lineup. They like, we're returners and, they know we have a good amount of pitchers, but I think probably the difference between us being, ranked 14th in one poll or maybe fourth in a poll is because of starting pitching. We don't have those two big time guns back that Florida has or Texas Tech has, or some of these teams that are being ranked ahead of us, like Ole Miss. I mean, they've got three starters back. So we've got to get our rotation figured out. And it may float a little bit as far as maybe two guys are in and we're floating and figured out the third guy. But if our pitchers will buy into the team and helping the team and whatever it takes to help the team, we're going to have a really good year. I do like the versatility of our pitching staff because there's such a good mix of left-handed pitchers, right-handed pitchers, and a lot of good arms. And if a guy goes down, it needs a couple weeks off, someone's struggling, we should be able to plug somebody in. It may be a little bit younger or less experienced, but as far as the stuff, there's not much difference. So just looking forward to watching this evolve. And like I said, it's a long season and it may take us half the season to get everything right. We just need to have it right for the second half. And, if you look at the schedule, it's loaded. So we're going to find out pretty quick what we need to work on with who we play. And I'm excited about that. I know the players are.
All right, that'll wrap us up. Thanks, guys.